Mm.
All right. So we are beginning our recording for this Q&A, which is just going to turn into a lovely little chat about our apprenticeship and our program series and see
Right.
what kind of questions you guys have.
Well, let's tell them first. It's 4 weekends, right, guys? It's 4 weekends. Moira has the 4 dates. There was one date that was changed. It
Mm-hmm.
was so the first one, our first weekend is Earth weekend because we have it divided up in Earth, Water, Air, and Fire. And you want to tell them the dates, and then
Yes.
I want to quote you, Moira, on something. So I'm looking it up. So go ahead.
Okay. So our Earth weekend is April, the last weekend of April, April 26th to the 28th. So that's Earth. Water will be our second weekend, which will be June 28th through the 30th. That's the one that was slight change. We had it a weekend earlier, but we needed to move it to the weekend later. Air will be September 6th through the 8th. That's the first weekend of September. And then our fire weekend, our final weekend, Love the Fire weekend, is November 1st through the 3rd, the first weekend of November. That's always a fun weekend.
It
We
is
get
a
to
fun
do
weekend.
a different kind of overnight that weekend.
You'll love it. Everyone will love it, especially Delora. Yes. Um, so Delora asked a question or wanted to know a little bit more about what is this work, and which prompted Moira to write this beautiful piece about the base of this program. So by using the shaman archetype, universal principles, and the honoring of your own spiritual lineage, you will create an altar unique to you and your own personal energy medicine. Our first weekend will focus on laying the foundation, learning the basis of who we are, who, what, and where, and why nature speaks to us, and how we can use that information for personal and spiritual growth. Each consecutive weekend will build our altar medicine cloth by understanding our personal relationship to an element: fire, earth, air, water, a guardian, a part of self, the physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental piece of self. And again, like we said, it's a 7-month journey. And you did a great job writing this. So, Delora, thank you for that prompt. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and Moira, thanks for being the wordsmith for that.
Yeah, this is really, it really did get me thinking, Dolores. So thank you. Like really, this is learning how to step and walk on the shamanic path, right? So what in the world is a shamanic path? For me, it's different for everybody, but for me, it's my spiritual practice. It's what I do in my work. It's what I do in my day to day. It's my spirituality. It's how I connect to the divine. I don't go to church. I go to my altar. I sit in community with a group of people that do the same kind of work I do. So it's not a religion, but it's my religion, I guess you could call it. But it is the foundation of everything that I do. And I do healing work. I do personal one-on-one work with people. Um, and it has been such just a guiding light for me in my own growth and awareness. It really is a path of learning about yourself, learning about, right, like, and I want to say this, it is a path of not just learning about the light. That's part of what I love about the shamanic path is it is a path of non-duality, right? Like you are learning about the light inside of you, but you are also learning about the shadow. And it teaches you how to love the shadow. How to see the shadow is not this like dark, shameful thing, the regret piece that you're just trying to shove off in a corner, right? It invites us to invite those shadow pieces out of the corner, out of the closet, if you will, for some of us. It invites us to embrace those parts of us that we don't really like, right? But when we do that, we can start loving ourselves in more totality, and I don't know, brings peace to our lives. I don't know. What has the shamanic path been for you, Elias?
So a lot of what you said, and going to the shadow piece really quickly, it allows for me, and we've seen this in these two previous um, programs. I believe it allows all of us to look at the shadow work with gratitude, to be able to look at it and say, thank you for showing up. Because now showing up, I accept myself wholly, and I accept myself as an instrument of the divine, whatever that means for you. And it allows you to do this within community. So to go back to your question, for me, it really is all about community. It's about, many of you have been on retreats, and if you're watching this replay and you haven't been on a retreat, it is really a weekend of getting to know self and how others mirror ourselves. But in this program, in this apprenticeship, these weekends deepen the connection with the people that you're with. With us, with Moira and I as well, I just have a really, three is my favorite number. You all know that. And this is our third program. So I just have a feeling that each program has its own uniqueness to it. We have a base, we have a teaching, we have a weekend outline. But again, things will pop up that are uniquely to the group and unique to what's going on in the world, what's going on with Moira and myself, what's going on with all of you, how that affects all of us. So I think that the connection of self and the connection to community is what really gets me all geeked up about this program.
Yeah. The community piece is big because, right, it's fine and easy to talk about, yeah, we welcome the shadow, right? We just embrace the shadow and it sounds so lovely. But I mean, like reality, we have parts of ourselves that just are really reluctant to show up, and they're really scared and they're really wounded. So it can be really challenging to work with these shadow pieces. But what I've found, and I know that the I've seen it, right? When you work in community, this is where those parts of us can be witnessed in the strongest way, and we can be held in a container in the strongest way that allows for those parts of us to show up that wouldn't do it if we were just doing it by ourselves. Does that make sense?
And there's a sense of accountability in that too. We're each showing up for each other, Moira and myself included. And there are stuff here that you can say to one another and say, I'm seeing this. Does that resonate with you? It can and it can't. But it's really stepping into, I have to say, I talk about it, Moira talks about our authentic self. It really allows us to be that that glimmer of how we were created. And it's about tapping back into that piece. So I'm excited about this. First of all, I love going. I love going. And some of you have not been to Terra Muse in Iowa. And Terra Muse in Iowa
Not
is
Ohio.
not
My
Ohio.
typo. If you see
Not,
that somewhere, it's my typo.
it's okay. It's not in Kentucky. It's not, out of the US. It is in Iowa. It could feel like out of the US when you go through the cornfields, but, but,
It's
um,
Heartland County.
it's Heartland County. It's just a skip and a jump from Dolores' house. So we can all stay there too. So, do
My
you guys,
cousin,
I'm sorry?
we stay at my cousin's. He's in Cedar
Your
Rapids.
cousins, yes. And I hope your mom will be there. If you can, if you guys have any questions on any of this, now's the time to ask.
What is the best preparation?
Good question. You want me to shoot? You want to shoot?
You go ahead, and I have an idea, but you're probably going to say what I'm going to say anyway. So go ahead.
Well, one of the things that we historically have always encouraged people to look at is to look at what is your own ancestry, right? What's your blood ancestry? What is your heart ancestry, right? What is the lineage of the people that you resonate the most with? And then just start researching and start looking like, what did they do? How do the elements relate in their practices? Did they have an altar, right? They probably didn't call it an earth altar, right? Heart ancestry. Yeah. So again, it's some kind of lineage that you really feel called to, right? Like I have always felt a calling to like Central American, Mexican kind of culture, right? And I found my way into learning about the Peruvian altar tradition. But I also have a big connection into Celtic, which is in my bloodline. But then I also have a connection to First Nations of America, which is not in my bloodline. So that's what I call like heart connection, right? That like for me it would be the Peruvian and Native American, which are not in my blood, but I've always been pulled to those cultures, those traditions. Yeah, so that's one of the first things that you can do is to start looking at, because that's going to influence your own altar and how you create your altar, right? So you want to start just pulling in that. And if you don't want to have um, yeah, if you really want this just to be your own, maybe the stars are where you connect into. So let that be your heart ancestry, you know? I mean, we all come from stars, so it makes sense.
You're looking at creating a medicine wheel. And this medicine wheel, think of it as a map
Mm,
of of as Moira said, of connection. A map of star being connection, a map of ancestry connection, a map of spiritual connection, a map of personal development.
mhm.
So when you say what's preparation, you can say, as Moira said, take a look at what you're being drawn to, your heart and ancestry. I like that a lot. And then think about each weekend, what does Earth stand for you? What does it mean to be grounded and not be scattered? And just to, put your feet on the earth. What does that mean for you? What does it mean to be connected to water? What does it mean to be connected to air? What does it mean to be connected to fire? We're going to tell you in these traditions that we've gathered together universally and then bring this program to you guys. What we feel each piece is, but also what does it mean for you? Because this is a personal relationship with this altar, with this medicine cloth, with this medicine wheel for you. Each one of you is going to have, it's going to look different.
Mm.
Going to look very different. Mine does not look like Moira's, but there are certain pieces or the way it's set up will look like Moira's because we both have done it Peruvian based, right? And hang on one second. I'm going to move this over.
Mm.
And there it is. Can you see it? Okay.
Here.
Gotta go down a bit.
How's that?
Sorry
Yeah.
for the dizzy. I'll show you mine so that you can really see the difference.
Oh, I should have put that. Oops. Oh well, that's okay. See,
So,
Chris, we got the prayers for your family on there.
so very different.
Very different.
The other thing that right, part of this is learning about how to work with the elements and connect to the elements of the earth. But another part of this is energy, right? The shamanic path is all about learning about energy and how energy shows up in your life, and that what shows up in your life outside of you is a reflection of what's inside of you. So it's being this is part of what I love, is being able to look at your life with an expanded view, right? Rather than being caught in the drama of what's happening, you start to learn how to pull out from the drama piece of the life experience that's unfolding before you. And you start being able to go, okay, I'm looking at this from a bigger picture, right? You have a vista, is what we call it, right? Like a larger vision, like you're standing at the top of a mountain, right? You can see the expanse of something. So then you start saying, oh, I see this thing that's happening in my life is actually reflecting this part inside of me that is really still really hurting. So how can I help? Like you learn how to work with that part inside of yourself. You learn how to use the tools before you, the stones that you're using to as a form of energy transmission to help transmute that energy inside of your body, your physical body, your spiritual body, and to create change. So there's this alchemical process of it and working with energy that is really amazing. And again, all about learning how does your body, your system recognize and move with the energy, right? There's like these basic things that we do. We work with a stone, right? We do a thing, whatever that thing is, but how your body processes and moves with that, right? That's part of your learning. So you're learning how your body moves energy and how, like, what your gifts are in moving energy.
And think about it, guys. Many of you have been on the retreat where we've done a stone reading. We're taking that to the next level where you're looking at the stone and you are breathing an issue into it. Yes, we've paired you up where you read someone's stone of how does it look when you're flying above it? What does it look to crawl on it? You're using all these different tools of perception, and not only using eyes, but now you're tapping into that seeing, feeling, hearing, knowing piece, and you're allowing something of nature to speak to you through you, if you will. What other questions you guys have?
So should we be looking for a cloth for the altar, like, or
Yeah.
gathering things at this point?
If you want a cloth, so the way we always talk about it is try and get a cloth that's at least 1 foot by 1 foot, minimal, right? Most of the time people have a small square cloth. Please don't pick some like 5-foot cloth because we're going to be in a limited room with limited space. So, we'll start off small. You can always get bigger.
Right.
Yeah, and if you have stones that really call to you, if you find, think of like the base things. So for earth, we're going to be working with a stone, right? A stone from the earth. For water, one of the, you could, a lot of times people will have a shell. I sometimes use I have a little small bowl that I put water in, so some kind of vessel that holds water. Some people might have like a little goblet with some water. So whatever represents water. For air, most people use a feather, right, for air. And then fire, right? You have a little candle for fire. So start thinking like those are kind of the base things, but I don't know that you need to prepare 2 months ahead of time for that part.
Because
But
each weekend we're going to work with the one element.
yeah,
So, and we'll always tell you what you need for that weekend. We'll always will give you, when we start, we'll say, okay, this is the cloth here's ideas of what a cloth can look like. Some people have brought pillowcases and started off that way.
I
Um,
started off with a linen napkin. It was a white linen napkin is how it started.
I
Yeah,
had
same.
my
I'm up
mom,
on the cloth.
yeah, I had my grandmother's
Mm.
a little tea table. It was like this big by this big, something that she embroidered. So I had that. And then you could place that on a bigger cloth if you need that. Um, you
Delora, I
want to
think
bring
you had
something.
said,
Go ahead.
I think Delora had said something.
I had said I'm stuck at the cloth. Like I'm stuck at the very beginning. Like I don't know what cloth, like the intention of it and what does that mean? And
Mhm.
I know I'm
And
overthinking.
and that's why
Overthinking.
sometimes you just use a plain napkin because if it does, like I felt like I needed to have the right cloth, right?
Right.
Like the perfect cloth. I had to have like the cloth that had all the energy, encapsulate all that juicy energy. The linen napkin worked great for years. So
Yeah. And we can get cloths, you know, even though he's no longer with us, Dr. O'Connor, Michelle can get us cloths from Ecuador. So, did you get one, Jerry? Did you get no? Okay, but we can get cloths from there. Shaman's Market also carries if you want that traditional type, but they are pricey. So, but I would say, even if you went to a fabric store
mhm.
and you just went through the fabric store and you're like, I really like this pattern, you know, 1 foot by 1 foot, go ahead and get it cut out. I would suggest, again, this is just me, something just a little bit thicker, just a
Mhm.
little bit thicker than, like whatever. But again, it could change. And let me tell you, that medicine cloth, it's going to change. That altar will change. You
Mhm.
will have stuff on there and you might look at it and you're like, oh, yeah, I don't know why this is still on there. You're gonna change it up.
Yeah.
We're
And
even going to invite you to change it up.
yes. And one thing that's popping in my head now that I'm feeling called, because I'm thinking of like 1 foot by 1 foot. If you want to start off with a 2 foot by 2 foot, I have this giant cloth that I basically have to fold. And depending on which retreat I'm at and how many people are in the room and how small my cloth needs to be, I can fold it into a smaller cloth. So maybe like a 2 foot by 2 foot cloth might be nice. And then you can just kind of fold it over as you need to. Just a thought.
And if you guys decide after this program is over and you want to assist on a retreat, and we have you bring your cloth with you, those 4 items will always stay with you. The earth, water, air, fire, those are going to be your base items. And you might bring some other things. And we're going to go into detail. We're going to tell you how we set up ours. But then we're going to tell you, what does it feel like for you? Does this feel right? Just because we're doing it Peruvian based doesn't mean that again, that we might have something in the south. We might have our earth our earth item is in the south. You might pick a lineage or a heritage from their medicine wheel, that their earth item, their earth representation is in the north. You might put it there. So there's not a wrong or right to this. Okay.
Mhm.
Other
I just
questions?
realized I was gonna say, I've just realized I've been collecting stuff and I have a nice little setup on a little table next to my desk that's totally a freaking altar.
Right on.
Yeah, we don't realize that. We really don't.
Ding.
Yeah, see, that's what I say too.
Your whole room is your altar.
I'm not hoarding. I'm setting up an altar.
Oh, there you go. Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns?
Is it just you two teaching this, or is there more
We'll have a couple of assistants.
assistants?
Yeah. Yeah. We still need to talk about who those
Yeah.
are. But
And it doesn't mean
think
that
we're
though.
are we doing 2 assistants? One? Okay, we're gonna talk, but it will be us and we'll have some assistants to
Right.
support the circle.
And
And those assistants have done the apprenticeship
yeah,
already.
and they might not be the same ones every weekend. So, and it's a beauty to that because they bring in their own special piece. So, and I would say that the ones that we're thinking about, some of you know. So, um, other questions?
And then the Zooms in between, what are they going to be like?
What do you want them to be like?
Yeah. I mean, really, the Zooms are, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know, because this is all new.
So the Zooms will be a check-in, but we'll also have you, when you leave each weekend, you'll be doing some homework. Yes, you're gonna have to do some work. It's fun homework. So the Zooms together will be a check-in. We'll also probably do some way of doing some remote kind of energy work with each other, right? Like teaching you about energy. And then checking in on the homework that we give you. And then in addition, what we'll also do is we're going to break whether it's 10 or 12 of you, we'll break you into smaller groups, right? So that you have a group of maybe like 3 of you that you check in on each other, and you'll do like a weekly, ideally, you'll do a weekly check-in with each other, right? Some people, they can't quite figure out a weekly, so they do like every 2 weeks. But these smaller cohorts, right, they're going to be groups that you can really talk to each other about what's going on in your day-to-day life. And then you have the wisdom of your fellow students to help you see that bigger vision, right? Because it's really hard to see your own vision, that bigger vision for yourself sometimes. So having somebody else to be like, oh, I really hear what you're saying. May I offer you what I'm seeing? And then they can see their perspective. And then you have the second person also giving them their perspective. And so then after each retreat, you'll switch your small groups, right? So you'll work with the same small group for about 8 weeks. Then you'll switch and you'll have another little small group. But it helps you really create a tight-knit collective for the larger part of you. But it also gives you some accountability for doing your work between the retreats. And then we're always around for questions to talk if you guys need.
And those are important, whether you do them via Zoom, whether you do them via, a conference call, a 3-way calling, whatever it is. It's a nice check-in. It's a nice check-in.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to tell you that, this is really, it affects every area of your life. It really does. It's not just, oh, we're learning some, cool woo-woo stuff. It really affects how you show up in your life for yourself, for others, for your job. It can create movement. I know that she's very open about saying this, but we've had one of our people who went through a divorce while she was in the program, and it really helped her move through that piece. And it really helped. She said that the support of the community and the work helped her really focus on having the strength to stand up to other people when that was brought up, when it was brought up by her ex, or brought up, issues were brought up, and the dynamic changed for her, and she really stepped into her truth. So it's very different for everybody, but there's always this great learning of self-discovery on a really deeper level than you, and sometimes it might not hit you till, like, mine didn't hit me to the second weekend, and I was like, what's this all about? There was an exercise where we had to go back to a place of high school or grammar school, a place that we lost our power, and I went back to my high school and went back to the place where I was almost thrown down a flight of stairs, and called back that power that I had. And it's funny because I went to go visit a teacher, and the bell rang, and there was all these students that came out. Now, remember, I'm 5'4", now shrunk to 5'3", but I am 5'4" at that time. And there was like probably 50 students coming down the same stairwell. And I had a slight panic attack. I was like, oh my God, look at all these people. And why are they so tall? And I felt myself just turn around and follow the herd down the stairs. And it was funny, when I got out of the stairs and got out of the hallway, there was my favorite teacher's classroom that changed. She changed rooms or whatever. And I was like, fascinating. So a lot of stuff happens, a lot of cool aha things happen.
And I will say this, if you do not want change in your life, don't do this. It's plain and simple. If you are very happy with your life the way it is, and you just want to continue on your pleasant, comfortable path, then don't do this. That's okay, right? This doing this type of work, and this is why we do the retreats, because it is this aspect of taking you out of your life, your normal day to day, putting you in a totally different situation, right? That allows us to work with your energy blueprint, your patterns of energy in your body. It allows us to work with it in an uninterrupted, pure way to really create change. Hope that made sense, right? Like, when you are in your life, your matrix is connected into everything in your life, right? So it's really hard to create change because you're woven into the fabric of everything around you. But when we pull you out of that, pull you out of your reality and put you in a new place, you're not tied to any of that. Your matrix is completely free, and you are by yourself. And that allows you to, in that space, create change in your matrix so that when you go home, you're changed. And then you create more change in your home. And it can be a little challenging, I have to say. Sometimes when you go away and retreat and you change this matrix of your field and you go home into the old way, very real, there can be some clashing between this new form and the old form. And it takes a little time for those forms to start pulling together and to create this new matrix of a new life, right? And just imagine this happens 4 times within 7 months, right? So that change, it moves you forward in your life in a really potent way. And yes, it can be challenging and it can be hard, but that's why we really stress the community piece. So you're not doing it by yourself.
Right. We have a couple minutes left. Anybody else? Hi, Carson. Anybody else have a comment, question, concern? Anything not clear?
Well, you mentioned there's 14 of us. How are you getting it down to 10 to 12?
Well, that's going to be We need to set our date for opening up to signing a registration form. And this is the other thing, when you sign up, you are committing to the 7 weeks. This is not about showing up one weekend and being like, you know,
7 months.
you're making a commitment. You're making a commitment to us, to the collective, and to yourself. So whoever makes those commitments first.
And you are offering payment plans, correct? Because the finances will go to Moira. So
Yeah.
she'll be doing that stuff.
Yeah. Some people will be able to pay all at once. I don't encourage that, but if that's what you want to do, great. But I'm going to offer where you can pay either quarterly, like every other month, or you can pay every month something. It'll be your choice. And if you need something a little different to help you out, just talk to me. We'll figure out what works
Fantastic.
for you.
Is the plan to also be able to stay night before, night after? Thursday and Sunday?
I think we'd have to talk to Terra Muse about it. That's an additional charge from them.
Right.
Do we know if that's still an option, Elias?
That is correct.
Okay,
Because
for sure.
I will be coming in and staying in. So I will be there Thursday and I will be leaving on Monday. So when I stay, I'm then responsible for whoever's with me. So when I leave, y'all have to leave. When I get there, y'all have to get there. So we can correspond that as well. But I need to get there the day before, obviously, because I can't drive in. But I just want to allow for weather or whatever. It's important to get there the day before. So yes, you can.
And that's a good point. So we try and allow this so that people can travel the same day. Like for me, I'll be driving in. So we'll start at about 3, right? We usually have everybody get there at 3 and make sure we're all sitting in a circle by 4 is typically what we do. So if you need to travel or whatever during your day, and then on Sunday, we'll get out right after lunch. We end circle, we have lunch, and then we collectively break down. There's a group altar that is kind of holds the container of the whole room. And I always ask that everybody help take that down because it just is a lot. So we end the weekend, we have lunch, and then we all break our altars down, and then you're free to go. So usually about 1 or 2 people are heading off, and if you need to travel home, that's usually good. And it's an hour away from which airport?
Cedar Rapids.
Cedar Rapids. Okay.
Half hour.
Half hour?
Well,
Okay.
was it half an hour or like 45 minutes?
How you drive or how I drive?
When
Speed
you
limit or
drive
Delora driving?
from the airport and follow all the directions on Siri, how long does it take if you don't go to the Costco?
Well, I don't know that caller, but I would say driving with Delora, we got there in 40 minutes. Take away.
And we went to the Costco.
And we went to the Costco and the Walmart and the dollar store. So
So
we
it's
were
probably
busy.
really
Oh,
only
that's
half
right.
an hour away.
It's about 40 minutes, guys. It's
Okay.
40 minutes. As long as you don't stop at the rock store.
Okay.
So, yes.
Which one?
I know there's 2, but the one. Okay. Anybody else? Because we have 2 minutes left. Jerry, you good? Any questions?
Yeah, the airport that's closest to me is in Des Moines, but if anybody needed to stay extra days, they're welcome to stay at my house. Just
Nice. That's nice. Next to the Des Moines, as I like to say, Des Moines. Beth, questions?
What's the total cost on everything?
We're at 390. 3,900.
Okay.
And the only thing that includes all your room and board, food, at the snacks at the retreat center. So just getting yourself there is what you'd need to cover.
Danielle, you good?
Thank you.
Okay. H, you good? Okay. Chris from Iowa, anything you need? Okay. And then anything that the Fae need to say, Delora, you're all good?
We'll be there.
Okay. Please bring Veruca.
I could deflate her. Are you gonna blow her up again?
I don't know. Depends. Veruca is her friend behind her,
I
Moira.
was wondering.
She's a mermaid now.
She's a mermaid alien. Yes. Okay. That's beautiful.
Galactic mermaid.
Galactic mermaid. I like it. I like it. All right. Anything else, Moira?
No, I'm just really looking forward to this and really just love the exploration of all this wacky, beautiful shit. So
Great.
look forward to being with it and with all of you.
And I would say it's really first come, first serve. So the first 10 to 12 people that are saying, yes, I'm committed. And either you, I don't know, again, the finances are up to Moira. Either you're doing a security deposit to say that you are committed to this, or you're paying the first month, or whatever it is. I would contact Moira and get yourself on the list. Because again, the max that we're doing is 12. Obviously, most of you have been there, so you know that the rooms only allow so many people.
There's that closet under the stairs, though.
That is perfect for you. We can put some tea lights and some little strobe lights, if you like, for a dance party on your own. Totally up to you. And yes, it is M as in Mary, or M as in Moira, S as in Scullion, ms@moirascullion.com to register.
Yeah. So just email me directly. I'll send you a registration form and we'll
Go
begin
for
the
it.
journey.
Does that start today or is it in the future?
It will start this week. I will say that.
Okay.
I need to solidify and change my registration form, and nothing's happening today because it's Sunday. So
It's Sunday. Sunday. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I have to be back on for Soul Chat and Messages from Above in 13 minutes. So I'll see some of you then. Yes, Danielle.
Just real quick, if we've already emailed an interest, do we need to email again?
yes, because this is we've got your interest. Now this is please say I would like to register.
Okay.
Just to be really clear.
Yep.
Because
Okay.
interest is one thing. You can have interest in a lot of things, but yeah.
We had 27 people interested. And then it got down to 14.
Yeah,
So
just be clear. I would like to register and I'll send it to you this week.
all right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And we'll stop the recording.